Eye in the Sky is a British thriller starring Helen Mirren, Alan Rickman, Aaron Paul, and Barkhad Abdi. The film is about a group of military personnel who are faced with both a moral and legal issue involving a possible terrorist attack and the use of drone warfare. Now, going into this film, I knew barely anything about it except for the cast, the director, and the basic plot outline. And I was pleasantly surprised because this is a great political thriller. And not only does it show the dilemma facing drone warfare, it also conveys how it directly affects those civilians. And Helen Mirren was great as the lead. She played a strong, confident woman who will do whatever it takes to get the job done. She did a great job at balancing the determination and frustration that her character has throughout the entire film. And it's actually pretty remarkable the amount of characteristics that she was able to give her character, especially when you consider how very little we were told about her. And this is Alan Rickman's final on-screen performance because his last film will be a voiceover and Through the Looking Glass. And he was fantastic. I don't think he will get nominated because it's pretty early in the year, but he is definitely worth consideration. And he was so good at conveying his character's frustration with the entire situation. And he did it very subtly and the other characters didn't really notice it, which makes it very realistic because that's how you would think a professional would handle this type of situation. And there's actually a little bit of humor in this film, and Rickman's character seems to get most of it, and it worked very well and flowed throughout this serious story. And the back and forth between his character and Mirren's character was great, and you could tell that these two had worked together before. And that is really remarkable that they were able to convey that because when you think about it, they had no screen time together. And the direction by Gavin is solid. He did a great job at building tension, and there was even a moment when I was gripping onto my seat. And how he was able to make you care about these characters with knowing basically nothing about them was pretty incredible. And he also directed the film Satsi, which won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Film the year it came out. And it is a great film, and I highly recommend it. And this film has a lot of moving parts with all the military bases and political authorities, and it could get really confusing, but overall it flows very well. And I thought they did a great job at explaining both sides of the argument and why stuff like this takes so long to happen. And I thought it was pretty clever how they tied everything together, because at first it looks like there's two different stories, and while I was watching, I was like, okay, so how are these gonna piece it? Oh, that's actually really smart. And I loved how they showed us both sides, the military and the civilians, because that way it shows us the full effects of war. And at the end, it leaves you with such mixed emotions. As for negatives, like I said, this film does have a lot of moving parts, and while it flows well for the most part, it could be tightened up better. And there are certain smaller obstacles that could have been taken out of the film entirely. And there is one character who is in the scenes with Rickman, and her sole purpose is to delay the plot and be in opposition with Rickman, which at first it works because her arguments are valid, but by the end it only feels like she is saying those things because the script is telling her to. And while the actors and the director did a great job with what they were given, I wish the main characters would have had more backstory because we would have cared more at the end. And especially Mirren's character, we knew barely anything about her, and she was the lead. Overall, I thought this was a very intense thriller that had great acting, superb direction, and a solid story that tells you both sides very well. I am going to give Eye in the Sky an A-. If you have seen the film, let me know what you thought in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, or you can just click right here to see more.